special good morning to our listeners. Good morning to our viewers. Welcome. It's To The Point for today, Tuesday, the 9th day of June, 2026. Listeners via social media platforms. Speaking specifically about the YouTube channels, Facebook page. Good morning. Welcome to today's edition of To The Point. I'm your host, Shiti. Let me welcome to, of course, Senator Norland Cox. Kind of technically surprised me this morning by popping into the studio. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning.
Pleasant morning, GT, and pleasant morning to your viewers, your listeners, both local and abroad, and everywhere in the world, people listening to GBN. Yes, and it was deliberate. I wanted to just knock on the door this morning.
Because I'm usually setting up the Zoom, and I'm setting up the Zoom, and then I was told, well, Senator Cox is here. He's not going to be coming via Zoom this morning. But it's nice to have you in studio.
Likewise.
In studio, and so everything is okay?
Yeah, everything is wonderful. Carriacou is great. It's just, we're in the middle of what seemingly to be a very tough dry season.
Yes,
even on mainland, the issue of water is conversation centered around what is taking place daily. And so we're just hoping for rain. I think we have done all we need to do traditionally. We had our maroons and had all our cultural and traditional activities. So
some folks say that's what that's called the rain down, right?
Yes. So we just hoping so we can get rain, not just for domestic purposes, so that for farmers can plant and we get our produce.
Right.
Yeah, so we look forward to that.
Let me of course once again congratulate you on returning on the hem of deputy political leader.
Thank you.
The last convention which happened last week. Congratulate you on that. So from the onset of this, the new National Party, they held that, of course, National Convention was only the 1st of May at the McDonald College. That's in St. Patrick. Now, for the people who weren't, in the room, if I could say that, what was that energy, the atmosphere like on that day, sir?
Well, first of all, let me just say thank you on behalf of the party to the St. Patrick's West for accommodating and hosting everybody. It was a wonderful event. In terms of that event, GT, it's the excitement, the atmosphere. It was unmistakable. It was an atmosphere of optimism, one of hope, one that showed that NMP has a new purpose. We had a wonderful time. I think one of the things that was very exciting about that convention was to see young supporters standing with seasoned supporters, persons who were first-time attendees. They were all basically reassured in the confidence that the new National Party leadership has and what we have presented, for the people going forward. And basically to say to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit that we're preparing to lead again. So I think that is something that was clear, was made clear on that day.
So what does that speak for the overall new National Party as it stands right now? What does that speak in terms of the energy as you spoke about, the entire makeup of the new council and so forth? What does that speak for the new National Party?
Well, it speaks volumes. I think one of the things that the nation has been looking for is to see how we transition, and I think we have done more than just reacting. As I indicated, that we have showed a clear indication that we are ready to lead this country again. We have put forward a team that is one that is exceptional, that comprises of persons who have experience, who are young professionals who are new, and of course what it also does, it shows that we are preparing for a generational change in having re-elected the Honorable Emily Pierre as our leader, our first female political leader. So I think those are clear indications that we are not just demonstrating it, but we're showing that we are ready to govern for all Grenada.
Right. Now, the party framed the convention as a launch pad for the next phase from, of course, where you still sit now as the deputy leader. What made this one seemingly different than past conventions for you? Or conventions of the past?
I think for me, over the past decade, I've been front and center and been a member of this party, this great institution. I think our past conventions more celebrated wins. Yeah. This one, we basically preparing for the future, and I think that is the difference. That really stand out for me. I think our transition has been one that has been very sincere, very open, and very determined in what we believe NMP should look like, and we are listening to the people, and those changes, those improvements are a result of what people want. And so that is the decision that we have taken, and we are continuing to listen and to make those adjustments as we move forward.
All right. What about that on that single day that stands out for your whole lot, sir?
I think
that single moment of the day that stood out for you a wee bit.
I sat there for a long time and contemplated, and a few people called me, and they told me that they were looking at me, and it's like. My facial expression, I internalize a lot. Yeah. And for me, what really stood out to see the supporters, how they were energized and reassured of the new National Party leadership team. I think that is what really stood out for me. That confidence, that energy, person felt, yes, this is it. We are happy. I think also connected to that was when the political leader took the stage, took the podium. People stand. And it wasn't, people didn't stand because it was protocol. They stand in recognizing what we have done in terms of taking the decision to elect her. I think that is what was really recognized from that standing innovation. I think that is the difference. And also, it was also part emotional for a lot of people, especially seasoned supporters, with Dr. Mitchell graciously passing the baton. We have done it in a very logical and responsible way in the interest of the party, and we just can't continue to look at how his service, his commitment, it's something that is always going to be stay with us as a party, and we have really embraced all our supporters, and not just our supporters, but persons like Dr. Mitchell and like the Roland Bowler, who have been there for years. One of the things that we have done very gracefully is that we have not really cast aside persons who were there before. We place them in mentorship roles to help the party evolve and move forward. So they are going to support whatever NMP does in terms of giving guidance while they have passed on the baton. I think that is the difference. That is what really stands out for us. I think a lot of the young candidates really value that because you could easily get lost if you come into this without that guidance and that mentorship. Yeah. And so we are very instructive in terms of doing that and ensuring that persons understand and continue to believe in our philosophy.
Great to hear that. Now, you and of course political leader Evelyn Pierre have have the time, I should say, to work on as a leadership team. How would you describe, that working relationship and what each other, of course, bring to the table as being at the helm of the new National Party?
This is the first time this question actually came to me, in terms of our working relationship. We worked before in the previous administration, but in this role, it is somewhat more different in that we share a collaborative approach towards serving this country. I think that is, we share that commitment in terms of ensuring that what we do benefits Grenada, Carriacou, and Petimanik in a holistic manner. And I think what the political leader brings is a deep sense of of strategic calmness and energy, and she has a broad knowledge on the national issues because she has been involved in this for a number of years. When it comes to me, I think what I bring in terms of strong organizational execution, having that ground approach, being able to get results, being able to get things done, I think that is where my strength is. And so that really brings a cohesive approach. And if you want to use an analogy from physics, unlike charges attract. And so while we have our different skill set, I think that really provides for a real balanced approach for the party, and not also, but to bring some reassured success as a duo for this country as we move forward to address those issues and concerns and the problems that are there. So we are excited, we are confident, and we are comfortable that we can get this job done. And so I'm happy. I'm really excited to do this with her, and I think she feels the same way about it as well. So we look forward to doing great things for our party and for our country. Yeah?
The level of preparedness as an organization as it stands now, being in opposition. What is the level of preparedness? If you could give me in terms of percentage, how prepared is the new national party? Just in case, as we say in local talk, that bill gets wrong, and they say, well, election will be. What is that level of preparedness of the new national party?
I think I'll say it in 3 words. We are ready.
We are ready.
Yeah. We are ready.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
We're due for a break. So the Cox, let's take that break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
At 5 p.m. on August 5th, 1944, the schooner Island Queen sailed out of the St. George's Harbor. On board were some of Grenada's brightest and best sons and daughters. What happened afterwards remains a mystery.
Where Island Queen gone?
Heritage Theatre Company presents Lucy's Straw Hat, a full-length drama written and directed by Chris DeRiggs, a moving story about a family caught up in the drama of this great mystery. Meet Hyacinth, haunted and always ready to do mischief.
Rich man, he'll make him sign for you?
Lucy, beautiful and headstrong.
I had a dream, Mommy, that Hyacinth was there, holding my hand.
Lucy's Straw Hat at Grenada Trade Center on Saturday 13th and Sunday 14th June, and at Deluxe Cinema on Saturday 20th and Sunday 21st June. Advance tickets $60, $75 at the door. Come join us.
Where Island Queen gone?
Welcome to the island's boldest ATV experience. The only tour daring enough to bring you this level of excitement, freedom, and adrenaline. Feel the power. Conquer rugged trails. Experience breathtaking views. Ride beyond the ordinary. Feel the power. This is not just a tour. This is the power of Ride ATV. Get ready for fun. Get ready for excitement. Get ready to ride. Book now at ride.gd or call 473-422-1011. Ride ATV. Adventure starts here.
Grenadians at home and abroad, the National Democratic Congress proudly invites you to the mega rally on Sunday, 21st of June. Under the theme, 4 years stronger, you, me, us. You, because we care. Me, because I have a responsibility. And us, because we all have a part to play in building Grenada. Bring your flags, bring your family, bring your yellow, and be a part of the 4-year celebration, transforming Grenada's future. Sunday, 21st of June at 5 p.m., Monrouge Plain Field comes alive. NDC Mega Rally. You, me, us.
When the man say that he blacking out, what you think it is? Yellow fever. Yellow fever. Whoa, oh, we give them yellow fever.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. Welcome back, Senator Cox, with us this morning. Senator Cox, let's continue the conversation this morning. You know, there's what they will refer to as a generational mix in the party now. Young as well as the older folks who've been there, the older stalwarts that you mentioned. Experienced hands alongside the newer faces. You did mention that a while ago is one of the things that stood out a whole lot for you. How is the NMP balancing the continuity of renewal, if I can say that?
Well, I mean, very easily. Of course, work has to be put in, but it is not something that is difficult for us to do because we have planned this quite some time. Persons may not have intricate information what is taking place internally, but it's something that the party has been planning for a number of years, and obviously the inevitable is before you, so you have to plan for that. So we have planned for that for quite some time, and so what is taking place now is basically execution of those plans. Okay. And so, as I did indicated, we are not casting our senior members aside. They have specific roles and responsibilities. In some cases, some persons are assigned to certain candidates to give specific help, to specific support. So we have a strategic plan as to how we are doing this and to ensure that the National Party continue to remain the greatest party in Grenada, Carriacou, the greatest political party, which we have. Our resume stands above the rest, and hence the reason why we have been successful, because we have governed responsibly, we have governed successfully for this country, and we are very proud about that. Yeah, we are very happy. Yeah.
What does it signal? When I say signal, in terms of that working relationship with each other, in terms of if I could retake this question for you,
yeah,
When I say what does it signal for the country in terms of NMP? It's been led by the first female political leader, and with a deputy working alongside her. What does it signal for that? What does it signal to Grenada?
Judy, I think it's a very important issue for our country. It's an important step. It's a conversation that has been in the circle for decades as to how not just political parties but other institutions, how women are accepted, what roles do they play in national development, and as the NMP, we have been the forerunner when it comes to the inclusion of women in the political governance. If you look at the composition of women in Parliament, we have led the charge in probably having the most women parliamentarians. And we have been doing that for a specific reason, because we listen to the country, we listen to people, we understand that we have to be progressive and we have to do right by our women. So the decision for us to elect a female political leader is not surprising. Is one that where we continue to evolve as a party, continue to be more inclusive, and to ensure that all Grenadians understand that the National Party is there for every single Grenadian, be it male, female, who has that aspirations, who have that desire to be in leadership roles. You can come to our party. It is who we are, and it's just basically, I think, just breaking away from customs. I think we have lead in that aspect, and we need to demonstrate that, and we continue to show that we are a forerunner as regards to being probably the most inclusive party.
All right. Now, coming out of the convention, what are the 2 or 3 priorities you would say the NMP wants Grenadians, Carriacou folks from Carriacou and PT Martinique to know its main focus on right now, coming out of this convention?
Well, our focus, basically, we spoke about some of the things at the convention, is basically has a direct correlation towards the needs and concerns of the people right now and the country as a whole. And straight off the bat, our first focus basically is on the whole issue of cost of living and ensuring that we bring this down. We notice it has what you call a domino effect. You have one sector increasing cost of services, and multiple sectors follow. And so, straight away, if you start with the energy sector, of course, once fuel price goes up, be it for local reasons, international reasons, global reasons, it has a domino effect. And once used service providers continue to feel that pinch, they are going to transfer that cost to consumers. And what we have seen increasingly is that has been what has been taking place on the ground. And so we are very responsive towards that, and we hear the cries of the people, and we for years have been the voice of the people. And so that's one of the first things that we're going to look at in terms of significantly tackling the reduce the cost of living, looking at economic growth, job creation. Secondly, we're going to look at our key sectors, of course, healthcare, which is paramount to our national wealth, infrastructure development, agriculture, of course, youth development. Those things are very, very important. So that's our second thing. And thirdly, we must look at our vulnerable, the rural areas, and to see how we can bring more economic activity to our rural areas and not living out Carriacou and Pitimatnik as well. Oftentimes, we do feel that sometimes we are left behind. So we want to make sure that Carriacou and Pitimatnik is part of that framework. So those are the top 3 areas that we would basically divert into.
A thought has come to mind, and I would just like to hear your views. Sometimes you hear the conversation that folks say, especially when it comes to the Caribbean region, that oppositions can't really do anything. I want to get your views on that, because folks are saying, it's always you part of the opposition, but the ruling government is the one that, or the ruling whoever's ruling the country are the ones who are making the policies and making the decisions so every day running. Do you have a different view to that when folks say oppositions can't really do anything, especially in the Caribbean community?
Certainly that is incorrect. While opposition do have limitations, they do have a great responsibility and a responsibility for oversight. And remember that a certain percentage of the voting population voted for them as well. So they do have persons who listen to them and look forward to hearing from us as opposition. But I want to go back, GT, and to show you why NMP is such an outstanding organization. We won 15 seats with the support of this beautiful nation on 3 occasions. And I had an opportunity to be in government of one of those terms. And we govern as if we had an opposition. Mm-hmm. We had more oversight. We had more scrutiny. We were more vigilant. And the reason why we do that, we knew that because there was no official opposition, it means that we have to be more responsible. People will be looking at us more than anything else. And so we ensure that we govern to create that confidence for the nation in the absence of an opposition. And probably that's why they may have given us 15 seats more than once, because I believe that we even govern better when we have full control. So I think to say that when you have free reins, you can just go ahead and do what you want, I think that is a recipe for disaster. I think opposition plays a critical role in the balance of governance for our country, to ensure that we have oversight, transparency, and to ensure that the country's assets, people's money are being looked after, and to ensure that people get value for whatever they pay as tax dollars.
Right. I like your response to that, because sometimes it's viewed, as I mentioned, like you're in opposition. There's nothing you can do other than for the opposing reasons.
I have this philosophy about leading while not in charge, and I do have initiatives that I do currently on the CISA as an opposition that I lead in certain things. I take the lead in certain things. Like, for example, we had a situation where persons were crying out for support with water in the communities. I took the lead and bring water to some of the communities. So opposition do have a role. They do have a role to support constituents wherever necessary. And so that's my philosophy. When you're opposition, you lead while not in charge.
Tell me, when you talk to the folks in the or people in the constituency, what are they telling you in terms of what they want from the next government? When I say the next government, hopefully the election is called and a next political party gets to form the government and so on. What is that they're telling you? And how is NMP willing to respond to those to that in particular, in terms of what they want if a new government is formed?
Well, when, not if, but when. So let me help you there. I think it's very important for us to appreciate and understand how people feel, and when people elect you based on whatever promise or whatever plans you put forward, there are expectations. They know that as a party, as an organization, that you're not perfect. They know that you may make mistakes. Yeah. But I think it's beyond that what is being experienced now. A lot of what was proposed is a total reverse of what is happening. A lot of things that were indicated, other practices that were spoken against are now amplified. Wrong practices are now amplified, and so it's for me. I see an increasing and we get an increasing feedback of disappointment, and as I indicated in the convention in my brief address, a sense of betrayal, for want of a better word, and that is how people feel, and it's a situation where you have to understand that whatever you do as a government, your actions, it must not impact people in such a negative way, and that is how people feel. Look at the issue of cost of living. What is happening? What you find happening every time we go to Parliament, we find ourselves debating legislation that increase the cost of living, and not policy approaches or legislative approach that reduce the cost of living. And so that is a total contrast into what people feel and what they want to see. And so for me, as I said, that is what is really taking place. The whole issue of economic activity. You speak to the business community. It's slow. The economy is sluggish. A lot of persons are making certain decisions. They're looking to see how they can curb, how they can adjust to what is taking place. While it does have, while there is some evidence of global impacts on some of those what we are affecting, but what is most important is that government's supposed to respond responsibly, somewhat to what is taking place, but we don't see that happening. We haven't heard any measures. We haven't seen any movements towards seriously addressing or curbing some of this economic impacts that persons are feeling, and we feel that this is disingenuous, and we have continued to call to say, no, government, do something, help our people, find some ways in which you can reduce the burden now. Yeah, I mean, if you look at fuel prices, we had fuel prices pegged at 15. Now it is pegged at 17. So it's a stark difference.
People say the circumstances are a little bit different to a point.
Well,
I've heard people say, but the circumstances, when it was pegged at 15, it was of a reason for COVID. There was not major wars or so going on like we see now. COVID, so it had to be pegged for those reasons. No, we know the reasons why that it's pegged at 17 because of what is going on in.
Well, I think is much more than that. I mean, 15 is not 17, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
And if you have it pegged at 17, where everything else is more expensive from COVID then to now, it goes to show that the burden is more. So that's the point that I was making. Not necessarily the circumstances at which you arrive at where you are, but But the reality is that it's just much more for everybody. And so I think that is what there is a need for an honest look, a surgical look to areas in which government could really bring down the cost of living. I think we haven't seen any sincere movements towards that, and that is just my disappointment. I'm not saying that government can solve everything. We are not saying that government can alleviate everybody's problem, but we haven't seen any movements.
Is it the external factors that are keeping the cost of living the way it is? Or is it that government are not looking at the factors that they can contribute to reduce the cost of living for Grenadians?
Well, let me say this, and governance is one that is comprehensive. Now, when we were governing, we operated with a surplus and what you call savings for those shocks, those economic shocks. That is why when this government went into power in 2022, they met monies there. Those monies were not only just to spend, but they were there to help cushion situations like are happening now, those economic shocks. Those funds were for that. But it appears those funds are depleted, and so now you have those shocks, so you have nothing to tap into. Those funds, that's the reason why we could have paid salaries while all public servants were home during COVID, while no business activity, the port were closed, the airports were closed, nothing happening, no revenue coming in GT, and the new National Party government was able to pay salaries comfortably. And the reason why is because we govern for those shocks. You have to govern for those shocks, and it appears that this government has failed in that regard. And now those shocks are here. Those shocks that you can't control, you have to govern for them. And so there are no revenues. I mean, we had passport sales in billions, and so some of the simple questions are, where did those monies go? How those money is used. And so those are the questions, and that is the feedback that we are getting from people. Why our government has not been able to respond appropriately to those shocks, to cushion those shocks, to buffer those shocks, even after having all these revenues at their disposal. And I think that is the question.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes we hear conversation from individuals where they say that, what is the substance over slogans? What is the NMP putting on the table that is more concrete than if you get the drift of my question?
Yeah.
Things of substance. So you hear a lot of slogans, but what is that concrete thing that the NMP is putting there that is more concrete?
I mean, I've just spoken about some of it, but I will elaborate more. One of the things that we have been doing successfully thus far is listening. Yeah, we have been paying a lot of attention and listening to our people in terms of not so much what they want, but what they don't want. And I think that is one of the things that we have to pay attention to. We have set up some clear policies, some clear economic pillars that we are focused on. The political leader has elaborated on those, and we have published, and you're going to hear more about those when our manifesto launches. We have taken a ground-up approach to our manifesto for the first time.
Okay.
Meaning that we have had several consultations, and we still have some consultations ongoing currently with key private sector organizations. And the reason why we are doing that, we need to get the heartbeat of the entire country, and that must form the lifeblood of our manifesto. So we have went into the communities, hear from ordinary persons in the community all over the country, in every constituency, and now we are at the final stage in preparing that policy document.
All right.
And so fundamentally, everything that we have done and continue to do is a representation of what people think, feel, and believe that Grenada needs going forward, and that is what this new NNP represents.
All right. I like when you say the new NNP. Let's take a break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back.
Emancipation Weekend, freedom takes the sea. The Media Workers Association of Grenada invites you aboard Unscripted, the Freedom Edition, Friday, July 31st. Step into an unforgettable night of music, vibes, culture, and connection aboard the ultimate summer cruise experience. Meet your favorite media personalities, party under the stars, and celebrate freedom the unscripted way aboard the Ecstasy. Boarding is at 7 p.m., sailing at 8 p.m. Dress code freedom chic, bold, stylish, unapologetically you. Tickets are limited and going fast. Get your tickets online at GoToFet and at recognized ticket outlets. Unscripted, the Freedom Edition, because the best stories are the ones you never planned.
The Ministry of Agriculture White Potato Production Initiative is an OECS sub-regional project aimed at reducing Grenada's reliance on imported white potatoes, which in 2025 had an imported value of over 4.5 million EC dollars. The White Potato Production Initiative is part of the Ministry of Agriculture's food security drive and is being undertaken with the simultaneous cultivation of other crops such as sweet potatoes, pineapples, coconuts, carrots, and other vegetables. Other OECS countries like Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are already at an advanced stage in white potato production, with Dominica completely cutting the import of white potatoes during the first quarter of 2026. Grenada is now preparing to advance production for better output in 2027. The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, ensuring food and nutrition security for all.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Once again, it's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. Of course, Tuesdays is Opposition Tuesdays here on the program. And representing the opposition today, we have Senator Norland Cox. He's also the Deputy Political Leader of the New National Party. Senator Cox, welcome back.
Thank you, GT. Pleasure always.
You know, without getting into personalities, where do you think, the current administration has fallen short? And what would the NMP do instead?
I think that there has been a mountain of allegations, a litany of allegations of wrongdoing, which is somewhat silent. I think that is very deafening. That silence is very deafening. There are persons who may think differently or believe differently than me, and I respect that. But people knows what is taking place. They know what is happening, and there is a clear disappointment about that. Additionally, I think persons there was a clear expectations for economically for things to be much more palatable. As it stands right now, it is very difficult for businesses, for most businesses, probably not all. It depends on what sector you're in. What is taking place in the economy that affect you, and so must understand that. But the majority of persons clearly understand that the whole issue of the rising cost of living. Every customer of Glen is going to get a very unpleasant surprise this month on the electricity bill. Unfortunately, that is the reality of the situation. It's just going to cost more for energy. And there was one time, I think it was a press conference, and I think there was a new hire, an appointment of some individual, and one of the reporters clearly asked about the issue of conflict of interest. And I think the respondent at the time, I'm not studying for the Prime Minister, I stand corrected, his response that conflicts will always exist and Grenada is small. That is a very, very concerning, that was very concerning for me at the time. I think what that does is a sense of normalizing what not should be. And I think sometimes when you're in certain positions, we have to be responsible with our statements and how it impacts and what message it sends. When you're telling persons it's all right to have conflict of interest, it's okay. I think that is sending a wrong message. Conflicts may arise. The question is how you deal with it, how you address it. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't have. And you're supposed to do everything in your power to help minimize that or remove it, to ensure that confidence is maintained in the dispense of service for people. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be trolling in nepotism. Nobody wants to be impacted in the services as a result of nepotism. Nobody wants an opportunity that they may have worked hard for a promotion or a job to be taken away because of nepotism or favoritism. Nobody wants that. Nobody would ever want that for themselves. And so I think that's where that lack of responsibility in terms of ensuring that those structures are maintained. And structures are there for a reason. They're there for a reason, and it works. While sometimes it slows the operations of things, but it's there to protect the system and to ensure that fairness is dispensed in everything that you do. And so that has been eroded. A lot of the structures have been eroded. I mean, I could tell you straight away, I mean, I can't recall, I challenge anybody. And I'm speaking specifically to Carriacou, in terms of adhering to the procurement rules and regulations, in terms of tendering for government works. I mean, that has been thrown out the window years ago. Works are just handed out as a leaflet. And you have a situation where there is no engineer supervising those works, no certified person supervising those works. Young contractors are left to do what they want, and we have evidence of a house collapsing, structural challenges. These things we just cannot continue. This is only a recipe for disaster.
Some folks may challenge you and say those are probably norms from all administrations. Is that a correct statement to say? That it may have been happening before, it may have a continuation.
Let me say this, GT, and I'll be fair. Yeah, I'm not saying that may not have happened in the past. Yeah, but from my knowledge, from me being under whatever that tenure, being in sports, being in infrastructure as a minister of government, there are clear policies through the procurement laws that allows for sole sourcing. And there is a threshold where projects can be handed out to persons under a certain amount. And we have had that debate in the parliament when they moved the threshold from 15,000 to 100,000. And we have indicated the dangers of doing so. $15,000 and $100,000 is not close. And those are the same structures, those are the oversights. That is what I'm talking about. You take $100,000 and give it to somebody and tell them, go ahead and build a piece of road and a drain. This is crazy. So that is what I'm speaking about. So I'm not saying that there were not challenges in the past, but I'm telling you right now, if he had 10% of that practice in the past in the former administration, it is probably almost 90%. And that is what I'm talking about. We have to reverse that. We can't continue like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, as the party moves towards, the next general election, hopefully, of course, we hear that happening soon. What should supporters of the new National Party and the undecided voters be watching from the new National Party in the upcoming months?
Well, first of all, I would say, get engaged. We are excited about welcoming persons to the National Party. We are excited about getting persons behind our vision, behind our message, behind our leadership team to ensure that Grenada makes the right decision come next election, to ensure that we restore whatever is taking place against whatever ills that is taking place currently, and to say continue to engage us. We have our community meetings, we have our village meetings. We also open to persons who may want to engage us directly. Even on these platforms, persons would call in and ask questions and get verifications. And so we are saying continue to engage in the National Party. We are excited and we are ready, and we're preparing to lead.
All right.
Again.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few more minutes, approximately, or 10 more minutes left on the program. This segment, we of course encourage our listeners and viewers. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask Senator Cox, feel free to do so in the next segment coming up. But before we get into that question, so I want to ask you this. What message would you give to Grenadians, maybe are individuals who may have voted for the National Democratic Congress in the last election, but is now having second thoughts? What message would you give to them right now, as being the deputy political leader of the new National Party?
I would say, first of all, get registered, get involved, be part of an institution that has a history of success, an institution that has been there for this country, which has helped this country through economic disasters, natural disasters, even pandemics. This institution, the National Party, has stand the test of time. We have and continue to represent all Grenadians, especially the persons who are in the rural and vulnerable sector. We make sure we take care of them. We have done exceptionally well in developing healthcare in this country, infrastructure, youth, sports. I mean, you name it, GT. We have stand out. I just want to also add, we have recently launched our new app, new National Party app.
Okay.
It's available currently in the Apple Store, and it's hoped to very soon. We're just waiting for approval from Google, so it will be available in the Play Store in the coming weeks or so. As soon as it's ready, we'll announce that. But it's if you have an Apple device, you can go on and look for NMP Grenada and download the app, and right there you can become a member. You can sign up. You can see all our plans going forward. Everything will be on our app, all our candidates. If you wish to donate, you can donate right there. So it's an interactive approach. We are leading in terms of being innovative as a party, and we are excited about that. And so that is one of the reasons why you should come and support the National Party, because we are ready to lead again for all Grenadians, Carriacouans and Pedimandicans.
Okay, great. We, as mentioned, of course, this segment will be dedicated to our listeners and viewers. 435-2041, both the direct line and the WhatsApp is now available for your calls. We do have our first caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Telesford. I trust Mr. Cox can hear me. Is he there with you?
Hear you loud and clear.
Very well. Greetings, Mr. Cox. You know I'm going to drop a nickname of you as Grenadians famous for going to call you from henceforth. Deja vu. But it's good to repeat. They say we learn on the force of repetition, isn't that so? Mr. Cox, I'm asking this question of you here because only recently I was in conversation with a very good friend of mine. We grew up as boys together, but we are currently two powerful adjectives, adverbs, diametrically opposed and asymmetrically oppose that it relates to politics and the governance of our country. But we see eye to eye because we agree to disagree as big men. He asked me certain questions about something I pong about from time to time for say Grenadians to understand. That's related to the laws, and I say SH, which makes the song in the English language, which was approved at the end of July. We're getting close to another year of it, for a full year of it, which you supported and your party supported. You have a powerful position in your party today, so I'm ponging it at you again. You voted for it, you supported, but in fact what it did, and I managed to convince the brother, that it contravened the imperial order and council of the Queen's most excellent majesty, which is the supposed Grenada Constitution. I showed him Article 39 of the Constitution, subsection 1. I showed him bullet point 8 of section 111. I showed him Schedule 1, and I showed him Schedule 3. And he agreed. My question is, Mr. Cox, what can you explain to your people, what can you tell your people who can read and understand that mistake, that farce, that hoax that was posed on the people of Grenada last year, which you fully supported? What can you do to defend this falsity, sir? The second thing is this, before we go. In this here country, our leaders, and let me use this term, our quote-unquote public officials, as defined by the United Nations Convention Against Corruption of 2003, stipulates that no public official should receive gifts from foreign people, friends and associates and otherwise, under any circumstances whatsoever. All leaders over the years repetitively have been doing that, Mr. Cox. Would you like to see that continue? What will you do to stop it? Because it's happening today again. After people within the party which you represent, Mr. Cox, have done it in the past. Do you wish that we continue this way or not? I do trust that my questions are understood, sir, and I sit by to hear your answers. Do have a nice day, will you, gentlemen?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Respond to the caller?
Yes, so, most certainly. I want to thank the caller for calling, of course, and he always has a very deep insight to a lot of political and national issues. I think the first issue he was speaking about, I think it was the allegiance. I think it was relating to that. So there have been a number of debates surrounding that particular decision that our country took. We had a number of consultations with senior lawyers as a party to understand and to ensure that what we might be agreeing or disagreeing to is right and appropriate. Yeah, and so what we, from all our consultations, deliberations with key stakeholders, there was some clear jurisprudence regarding such decision in other countries with similar construct in the constitution as ours. I think there were one or two previous ruling that speaks to it, similar to what we wanted to do. I think so that informed our decision as a party. However, while that was the case, there is still a gray area I think in one of the interpretations as to how we should go, but it was not sufficient enough to warrant any major legal debacle or many major legal misstep if we were to go in that direction. So much so, not knowing all the legal jargons, but to say it was somewhat safe for us to proceed based on the interpretation and understanding from those legal luminaries. So that is why we made a decision, and obviously we did it in a responsible way to ensure that we didn't just say no, or we just say yes. We consulted. In a very meaningful way to ensure that what we were going up against or going to debate was something that would not create any issue for us as a party or for the country. Okay. All right. I think the second one had to do with the receiving of gifts. I think prior to to the passing of the establishment of the pass of the Integrity in Public Life Bill. That itself was up in the air as to how public officers or public persons, including permanent secretaries, should receive gifts. I think the Integrity in Public Life do give some guidance and direction as to if gifts are over a certain amount, it should be disclosed and the process for that. So I think the Integrity in Public Act gives some guidance on that, and that was that happened like after 2013 or something like that.
Okay.
So I think that bill passed in 2014 thereabout. Yeah. So before that, yes, there were basically no guidance as to how those gifts were received or how they should be treated. But the law thereafter gives clear guidance, and we do have the Integrity Commission who plays their role in monitoring that to ensure that public officers and politicians alike or parliamentarians fall within the remit of the law.
Okay, great. We do have another caller via WhatsApp. You're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Jay, and good morning to your guests.
Good morning.
Now, I would like for your guests to explain to me a little bit more about the policy the government have about design and build. Now, we hear about contractors getting contract. They're bringing in all the material, even cheap stone. So the firms in this country are not making money. Even the small contractors are going home. Now that road in Mancuma, something like that. Now we hear that road started before. It was earmarked for $8 million. We hear the contractor did half of the work, $4.5 million. Now we hear that the road is earmarked for a contractor again for $22 million. Now how come that road, that new road is a better road? You have flyover, you have something brand new. So how come it costing $22 million? We know a material go up a little bit, but $22 million, bro? Something is wrong with that. So explain to me a little bit, bro, about that design and build. How expensive that would be for Grenada? More than giving a man a contract, he bid for it, and the government proceed. Than to let a man build a road how you want to build it, using material, whatever material you want, and then charge you a big money for it. Have a nice day, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to that caller, GT, and that is a very, very, very important question. And let me first start, GT. I think it's important and fair to explain so that persons understand what this issue is about. Now, you have this development arrangement which you call, which is known as a BOLT, build, operate, lease, transfer. Yeah, so that is basically that is more used in what we found from my experience. That is more used for in terms of buildings and not so much for roads. And let me explain. The ministerial complex was built under that model. So what the government did at the time was to say, look, we need to build a ministerial complex. We work together with the design. Yeah, we agree on the design. You build the building. You operate the building, meaning that you maintain the building. We pay a monthly lease. All right, so lease to own, and then when we pay that sum, we transfer the ownership back to you.
Okay.
All right. So that is how the ministerial complex was built. Now, you could see the logic in doing that. The building is being used by staff. You pay on a monthly basis, and then when that sum, you get to that sum, you transfer. So I don't want anybody to think that that has never happened before. I think it's important to make that. Now, what is happening now? This government has somewhat evolved that development approach to use it for roads. So they have to come up with this policy to say that we have 2 kilometers of road to do. we're going to ask a contractor to design the road, build the road, maintain the road, and well, I don't know how the ownership of that road is going to be transferred. I don't know whether they're going to carve that out and maybe a deed will be given for that portion of the road. But it's a contractual agreement, and obviously what binds that agreement. In the case of the ministerial complex, you have a lease, so the building has been transferred to you. So I don't know if it's the same thing that is going to happen with the roads that have been built, if they've been transferred, or what is being used as collateral to ensure that the person who gets the job does it. Now, what is going to happen here and what is happening now with this, and because this is somewhat very, very impactful in a negative way for a number of services. Now, because that contractor is going to, in some cases, going to borrow money to do those jobs, of course, there's interest and probably high interest for those monies, because if it's a short-term borrowing, the interest is going to be high. Yeah, let's hope it's not short-term. But in most cases, those arrangements are short-term borrowing. They are going to charge, of course, interest. They are going to have a margin, a markup for profit for their operations. So what you're going to find happening, that road is definitely going to cost the country a lot more than if government were to actually tender that project out and pay a contractor to do the road. All right? It's going to cost more, point blank. Okay. Now, what is happening, the spill of what is happening from this negative spin-off is that, one, because of the size of those contracts, the smaller contractors do not have the financial capacity to access that policy to start with. So straight off the bat, they are ruled out. They are not going to benefit. Because of economies of scale, those contractors, large contractors, instead of them probably procuring gravel or so and cement from local companies, they may in turn just bring in it at a large sum, which will probably cost them cheaper. Yeah. So that right away, the local businesses, in terms of who supply aggregates, are going to be left out. Yeah. So that is where the challenge is. The next challenge is, I hope and pray that the Ministry of Infrastructure is part and parcel involved in the design of those roads, what is to be done. I truly hope. And I think that will be the right and proper thing to do, but I don't know. Additionally, the maintenance of those roads. How long the roads are going to be maintained? What is the repayment plan? How the repayment is going to be done? I don't know. And this is where the challenge comes. If there is no clear, definitive timeline for repayment, what you would find that person would basically have ownership of that parcel of road or some control over that parcel of road until they get the money. And going out to a stretch of on a fast stretch, can that person block that road? Would they be right to block the road if they're not receiving any payment?
Well, I hope it's a different concept in terms of
that's what we're saying. We don't know.
I hope it's a different concept they use.
We don't know. All right. And so the second part of the question is regarding the Monkuma Road. I think they're going to resurfacing. So I don't know how resurfacing a road or maintaining a road is going to cost more than building a road when you actually had a bridge that was built. I mean, this is something is fishy there. Okay. That's all I can say.
We do have another caller. Caller, thanks for your patience. Caller via the direct line. Good morning, and you're welcome. Good morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Caller via the direct line. You're live. Good morning. Guess this caller is not ready for us, so let's try another caller via the WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to my friend Senator Cox. How are you today?
All right. Go right ahead, please, caller.
GT, good. All right, Senator Cox, I don't know if you hear me because I didn't hear you respond, that's why. All right, Senator Cox, all right, I was listening to you, all right, and then you mentioned about this is the new NNP. All right, and then I follow your convention, and then I listen to Dr. Mitchell saying that because if you have a new NNP, that means the ideology have to be changed. It got to be something new. All right, but if Dr. Mitchell saying now that the ideology of the party should never be changed, that is just so he said it like that, should never be changed. And then he will be monitoring and watching and holding the hands. So I need you to explain to me that what Dr. Mitchell mean by that. He also made a pronouncement to that in the convention that he do think that, and I think it's an attack on the leadership of your party, that you guys was not aggressive enough. So I needed to explain to me when he say aggressive enough against the government, that's what he said. So I needed to also explain that to me. And Senator Cox, you know I live in the diaspora. So, and I know you understand the Constitution.
I didn't know that.
No. All right. And I know we go meet soon. Winston Garvey now going around saying to the people and I question him on GTC program once again. And then he is misleading people by saying that we in the diaspora will have to be there 12 months, all right, for us to participate in the election. You understand? So I know you know the Constitution. I know the certain chapters. I could read it all to you, but because of time consent. So I needed to explain to me that as a born Grenadian citizen, once I come home and register, anytime election call, that I don't have to be 12 months in Grenada to participate. And I want Senator Garrett to know is now 600 of us coming and plus.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Quick response to the caller.
Maybe I could start with the last one first. And the People's Representation Act is clear on eligibility for somebody to register to vote. So I don't know, and I don't think that Garway would just mention. I didn't hear him on your program, GT, okay. But I have a clear understanding of the requirements for someone to be eligible to register to vote, and there is a clause that indicates that you must be domiciled in the respective village or constituency for 12 months, at least 12 months, okay. And you must demonstrate that before you're eligible to be eligible registrant to participate in the election. So that is not incorrect, and so that I remember. I think you have to be over the age of 18, and a couple of other things. You're a Commonwealth. Once you're a Commonwealth citizen, once you're born Grenadian. So it doesn't say that if you're a Grenadian that you can't vote. I think there is a clear indication about that, but that you just have to be here. You have to be domiciled here. I think that the law is clear on that. And maybe on another program, we can spend more time on that and dive into it.
I did have folks from the Family Elections Office here last week who also explained the process.
And it's important, and I don't think it is fair for persons to be misled either way. The diaspora is a valuable constituency in terms of their investment in our country. We have our families there, and so it's important for them to know the process, what is the right thing to do, and should not be misled and create any back and forth. And I know that we have been responsible in our utterances, basically quoting from the law direct. And I think that is important now more than ever. The legislation is available. It's a public document, so persons can go and I would advise persons to actually get themselves acquainted with it. The first part of the question. No, my good friend is asking me to inform what the person who spoke, what they're thinking. I don't know what if I am well positioned to see what Dr. Michel is thinking when he made those comments. But when when I make my comments about where we are as a party, it's clear the philosophy of a party doesn't necessarily, because you have a new outlook of the party in terms of candidate. All right, it doesn't necessarily mean that your philosophy will change, but your philosophy could evolve, meaning that it could include more things than you had previously. Like, for example, some parties may not go for a female leadership, while ours have done that. Some party may not have as much female parliamentarians or politicians as we have had in the past and currently do. And so it's just what happens. Some party may not pay much attention or have as a priority the vulnerable, the rural communities, as we have done historically, and because we understand those things. So fundamentals don't change. 1 on 1 is 1 plus 1 is always 2, and so there are some things about the National Party which will remain. And I think it's probably within that context that Dr. Mitchell is speaking. But there are changes. We have a new leader, we have a new chairman, we have a new jurisdiction, we have new candidates. So there are always evolving changes within the party structure. But there are some core things what make us who we are and really solidify our success that we will continue to advocate for.
Okay. We will, of course, entertain one more caller, and
sure.
Of course, that will certainly wrap up the calling segment this morning. Caller via WhatsApp, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, GT, and good morning to Senator Cox.
Good morning. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, I do want to ask Senator Cox one question in regards to the leadership, the present leadership in regards to being a female. Now, the NNP has been in existence for quite some time, and it is quite strangely that this is the very first time that a female was actually offered a position as political leader, and must I say, deputy political leader, or probably have some esteemed leadership position in the party. Now, it's quite strange that only now, upon the exit of the present or the past or the former political leader exit, that only now that we can say that we are having a female leader. Now, the question does lie that when you look at how the present leader became leader, given the fact that the organs, meaning the constitution of the party, was not actually followed in total in respect to how that evolvement happened. Now, can we honestly say that given that happened, that who is now presently the leader is actually because a woman evolved as leader? Or is it that it would always go down in history as she was placed as leader? And for what reason, therefore, it gives mind to question for what reason then, therefore, she was placed as the leader. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for that caller.